everyone, my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diary. So today I'll make another video on the same series of lazy programming series, and in this video itself I'll just try to cover the concept. Two things I'll just try to get it covered. One is a try and accept one, and the another one is input output file in Python itself. So what exactly the try and accept and what exactly the input output file in Python itself, we'll just try to understand both the concept for it. Both I'll try to get integrated in a same video itself, so that I don't want to go for a longer sections for it to make individual video for a small concept. So I'll just merge couple of things whenever I think like that is feasible to be get it club. So going further with the try and accept itself, so what's the purpose of that? So whenever we are writing any code and we wanted that if a person is putting any unwanted string to be get it passed by the user, anything like that, whenever the program is a user interacted code, and at that time the user putting unwanted content over there itself, or like we are allowing only the integer type input, and at the time only the user is providing a float or string type value, then at the time what exactly we're supposed to do it? Like either we have to prompt some type of error over there itself. So just to present that type of thing, we just consider that as an exception itself. That was the reason we are just using try and accept. So whenever such a type of condition is coming, we just providing an exception over there itself, just provide the error in a managed error format itself. So I'll just make it that very clear to you. Try and accept block are used for exception handling. So whenever we're talking about the exception handling itself, to provide the appropriate errors over there wherever there is a need of it. So exception handling allow you to gracefully manage error on exceptions that may occurs during the execution of your code itself. So at the time of the execution itself, when the user is providing any inputs, unwanted results to be get it populate, so that time we are using a exceptional thing over there itself just to get it manage the error. Okay, if you're talking about the syntax of it, the accept and the try its block, then in that case I can say try we have to use it first, like the condition will be get it fulfilled. If it's not, then going to the exception section where it might be like whatever that error we have populated from our side, it's written over there itself, it get populated straightforward. So how exactly the syntax is it? That if we're talking about it, the syntax is bit clear about it. In case of try, we simply have to put that code itself, whatever we wanted the action to be get it taken. If we're talking about the accept, then in that case we simply have to put the exception type over there itself, whatever exception type we just wanted. Either it's a zero division error. So the syntax you can see it like with the documentation also, and even at the time when I'm executing the code, I will let you know about it, how exactly things will go on. If we're talking about the exceptions to be get it managed over there itself, and we wanted a keyword along with that, we have to mention it, like you can catch a specific type of exceptions for a specifying the type of the except keyword. So that's also one of the thing we can do it. We just have to put it a syntax over there itself with the exceptions, and then up error will populate it. So whenever there is a condition where the error will be get it populated on our screen, it will be get it managed by the exceptions. So we can use this just to make the error as a managed one. Instead of just providing anything from our side, we just have to provide the managed error as to be customized by us only. Okay, so that's all about the stuff with the accept and the, you can say the try one. If we going further with that and try to understand the input output in Python itself, so in the concept of input output Python file itself, like when we have already created one file as an output itself, and we want that file to be get it read, write or append, all three things we can do it very easily for it. That was the reason we are using input output in a file in a Python itself. So talking about the file input output in Python refers to the process of reading from and writing to files on the file system itself. Python provides built-in functions and method for performing file input output operations. Some basic steps which we have to take it just to get that things about it. So opening a file, it's a bit clear, like we want, if the file is already present over there in our system itself and we want that to be get it open using a Python, then in that case we are going with the open statement for it. And to write that stuff, how we can write that, that's to open a file. You can use an open statement over there itself function. I can say that open function over there itself, and specifying the file path and the mode in which we want to open it. So mode is means like whether you want to read that, write that, append that, whatever the action type of thing we just want to get it, take an action is it, that we have to get it defined. So what exactly syntax? We simply have to name the file, then we have to put the syntax as open as we are opening the file, and then the name of the file and what type of action we want to get it taken, like a read, write, or we just want to get it append over there. So by using a open a file. Now proceeding further, if I talk about like reading from a file, after opening a file you can read its content using various methods like read line, read lines. These are the things we can use it just after opening a file if you want to read that. Writing a file, to write a data to a file you can use a write method. So as always, like if we are reading it we have to use that open one and read as per the need. If we want to write it, then we have to use a write method over there itself. If it does not exist, or like example the file is not present on the base machine itself where we are executing that, then at that time the Python will create it. If it's not exist, it will overwrite the existing content also. So that's also another thing. If we want to overwrite it, we can do that. Now appending a file, so if you want to add content to the end of the existing file without overwriting the existing content, you can open the file and in append mode, then using a write itself method for which. So if we do not want to overwrite and if we wanted that to be get it append the file, then in that case append is one of the feature we are using it over there itself. Instead like we have to use a keyword over there itself just to make it very clear about we just want to get it put it that file in append mode instead of just overwriting the content which is present in that file. Okay, so now proceeding further, if we're talking about the closing, like opening a file is one of the thing, but closing a file is also most important. So closing a file, it's important to close a file after you can done if it is free up system resources, like it will definitely free the resources of the system is getting consumed to get it open the file, and if it's remain be open, it's consuming the processes of the system. So if we do not want that to be continued, then in that case after the utilization of that file we simply have to close that file, ensure that all the data is written to the file, and you can use the close method for this purpose. Alternatively you can context manager with statement to automatically close the file when you are done with it. Okay, so close is one of the syntax which we have to use it to close the file. Now handling error. Handling error is also one of the thing which is core important for it. It's important to handle the exceptions that might occur during file input output operations, especially when dealing with real world scenarios where files may not exist or permission may be insufficient. You can try except block for this purpose itself, which we have already discussed in this video itself. In the initial phase we have discussed about it. That is trying to be get it covered over here. Just to handle the error we can use that except and the try and the except one. Okay, these are the basics of file input and output in Python itself. It's essential to handle the files carefully, especially when dealing with the operating opening, reading, writing and closing them to avoid potential issues like resource leaked or data corruption itself. We just have to be very careful about it. That was the reason we are utilizing this. These are the concepts just to overcome such type of problem. Now I hope like you are able to understand both the concept very well about it, which we have discussed about it, both the things. Now I'll go to the practical section, run the code for you, explain you the code, and by that way you can able to understand this input output file in Python. We are utilizing in multiple ways when we are fetching any content, reading the content which is provided a file itself for the code itself. That thing we can do it, utilize it. Exception, if we are talking about some error to be getted, customized handling, error handling to be get conducted, we are using a try and except. So both the concepts are a bit clear about it. Now we go to the practical section. Now let me go to my system and explain you about with the code and with the practical section for it actually. So proceeding further with the practical portion, first for the try and except itself. So this is the code I'm writing it for it. So what exactly we are taking it over here? We are taking two inputs from the user. We are taking number 1 and number 2, and then after that we'll do that addition over here itself. And how exactly everything will be go ahead further with it, I'll just try to explain you about it. Okay, so try is the statement we are using it, and this is the statement which you want to get it print if it's going with a val itself. Like example, if both the condition like we are putting an integer only, then in that case there no error is executing, like there is no error is coming over here. So then in that case this will be get it skip. But if there is some error coming over here itself, like example, if we are putting one number as integer and another one as a float or anything else itself which is not acceptable, in that case error will be generating, and that to overcome that error itself, this line will be getting executed, and we can see that on our screen how exactly the things will go on. Okay, let me run that code for you. So take example, idle case, I'll just put 1 and 1, and I can able to see this try statement will be get a trigger very easily. Now if I'll close this and run it once again, and this time I'll put 1 as number 1, and in case of another one I'll put 2.5, then in that case you can see you are getting this line, and this is coming from where exactly? It's coming from the exception itself. So just because of that, this is generating some error over here itself when we are executing both the thing which is not integer. Then in that case the next line will be get it executed, and once it's get trigger, automatically the exception will be get it populated on our screen, which you can see on my screen right now. Okay, it's coming under that, and this is the last line which we have already printed, and this is printed for everything. Okay, so this is the concept behind the except and the try. Now going further with that another portion for it. So now this is the input output file system itself. So what exactly thing is happening? The first thing which we are doing it is a writing to a file itself. How exactly we are doing writing to a file? So we simply, I'm assuming it there is one of the file, I'm creating it over here itself. So if it's already exists, then it's getting overwritten. But as we are using a write only, but if the file is not present, in that case the file will be created first automatically, and then the file will be written down. So let me open it with, this is the syntax which we are using it. We have to use with, then we have to go for put it this as open, as we are opening the file. Then after that, I'm not sure what exactly is happening. So now what exactly is happening? The name of the file we have to mention it, and then the mode which we discussed about the read, write or append. So as we are writing it over here itself, we simply have to write it from the scratch. Even if it's a content present over there in the file itself, it's get overwrite completely. And as a file, as file itself, we just have to put, this is a syntax which we have to use it as file. Now file dot, as we have to get it defined that over there itself. So as file itself, so file dot write, whatever the content we want to write, that to be get it written down. Now file dot write, once again one more line I want to get it at, as I'm using /n, so it's going to the next line, it's going to the next line, and these three statements it will be get it write it down in sample.txt. Okay, this is done. Now what we have to do, this is a written one. Now we wanted that to be get it read. To get it read, the same syntax we have to use it, but the thing, instead of w we are using r, as we are reading the file, and we are defining that as a file itself. Okay, now we just simply have to mention is content equal to file dot read, as we are reading it. So we just want to populate that content. We wanted that content to be get it published on a screen, so that was the reason we are taking that output of file dot read, whatever the read we are getting the output, that to be get it stored in the content, and that content we are populating over here itself. This you can see that. Okay, so the content we can populate on our screen using this print statement. Now we are appending it. So how to get it append? We are using the same syntax once again, and in that case we are using first as a writing. To file.write, first we are write, so first file.write append new content to the file. As we have used the a itself, that was the reason even we are using file.write, but as it's a append, so it will write at the end of it, like wheresoever the content is already be present over there itself. After that only the content will be get it added, instead of overwriting it. If we are not using a over here append, then in that case it will try to overwrite the content, but if we are putting a, then in that case whatever the content is present, after that only the next content will be get it added. Okay, reading again to see the changes itself, then we have to do the same thing itself. We are just transferring the content and then updated the content, and that content to be get it populated. So I hope you are able to understand. Let me run this code for you. So you can able to see what exactly type of output you are getting. So in both the cases, this is the first case where we are, whatever the content we have write it down from our side, and that content we are trying to get it read. So this over here itself we are writing it, over here itself we are reading it. That is this same output we are seeing it. Now once we are appending it, then in that case what exactly thing is happening? Once we append it, and then once again we want to read it. So the last line, that content which we have appended over here itself, appended over here itself, that line in it's coming at the last of it. Okay, so you can able to understand using append we can modify the file, put in the content. There is nothing like a override, but if we are using w straightforward, then in that case we are overwriting the whole content which is present in the file. I hope you understand both the concept very well. Even I'll provide this on my blog also, and even on my GitHub I'll provide the code, and even with the documentation you can go through it. Still, if you have some doubt, go with the documentation of the Python. I provide the link in the comment section of this video. In the description of this video itself, you can get that link of the Python documentation. You can go through it. If still you are not able to understand, just let me know in the comment section of this video. I'll try to make another video for you so that you can have, I'll just make you understand about it once again. But I hope this will be giving up at least a reference point for you, and just to know more about it. Don't take this as a Bible itself, just take this as a reference, and using that reference go it further, try to understand more concept, not taking this as a only reference, and don't go for any other documentation. Even I am reading the documentation, multiple documentation everyday basis. It's not only I just read once and going with that forever. No, that's not possible. We have to read the concept, we have to read the syntaxes in multiple ways. There are multiple coders are making the content in different type of ways, so we just have to understand that code. We have to read the codes of multiple coders, so that we'll learn different techniques instead of going the same way, same generic way which we have learned it. Okay, how to optimize the code, everything we just, once we are seeing the professional codes, we can able to optimize the code very well as per our need itself. Right now it's not much optimization I'm doing it, as I'm just telling giving you a description about concept, making a concept bit clear to you. But once it's in a later phase itself, when we are writing an actual code where we are doing the project itself, then at that time definitely with that comments everything, I'll just try to make it in one shot so that it's a bit easy for you in later phases. The same project, if you're trying to get it recall, instead of investing multiple hours, you simply have to understand the concept, read the comments, everything about it, and then you can get the details about it, how exactly the functionality of the project completely. So I hope you are able to understand